It's my pleasure now to introduce our next honoree, Chief Terrance Paul, one of Canada's longest-serving elected officials. Chief Terry was elected Chief of Member 2 First Nation, a Mi'kmaq community near Sydney, Cape Breton, in 1984, and has won every single election since. It's actually taken 5 prime ministers to match him. Chief Terrance is approaching 40 years as Member 2's chief. That on its own is, of course, a huge accomplishment, but it's what he's done in office that's the real story. Through the years, Chief Terry has thoughtfully and deliberately brought prosperity, economic development, and opportunities to his community. Growing up, he had very little, but what he did have were big dreams for Member 2. From the time he was a young man, he wanted better for his people and community. He was determined succeeding generations would not experience the grinding poverty and lack of opportunities he did. So what did he do? He prioritized the greater vision of what his people and community could be and can be. He and the people of Member 2 have kept a singular focus on good management practices and opportunities to develop the community socially and economically. He led development of a hotel, a golf course, a convention center, gaming, insurance, data, and geomatics. You can read case studies about this stuff. All of it culminated in 2020 with the announcement of a $1 billion deal to acquire Clearwater Seafoods Incorporated, the largest shellfish producer in North America, a partnership between a group of Mi'kmaq nations and premium brands. Chief Terry called it a generational acquisition. We're a player now, he said. In order to be in business, you first have to play the game, you have to play to win, and we won. Chief Terry likes to think long-term. When he probed premium brands on this, it also said it was committed to investing its holdings. Chief Terry asked what they considered long-term. When they said 30 years, he replied, "That's perfect. We think of long-term as forever. So in 30 years, we'll want to buy out your share." That has always been Chief Terry's goal, to create the conditions for genuine self-governance. But there is more to Chief Terry than blockbuster business deals. A family guy, he likes to spend time with his wife and kids and grandchildren. He also loves to read. His favorite book? The Inconvenient Indian, a curious account of Native people in North America by Thomas King. A book he enjoys because it provides a compelling perspective on Indigenous history and tells stories he hasn't seen elsewhere about the true historic relationships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. The story of Member 2 is also pretty unique and compelling. He's been true to his vision of wiping out poverty through resilience and resolve, and as he had hoped, his people are better off for it. It is a thrill to introduce our next honoree, Chief Terrance Paul.
Thank you very much. I can tell you that my speech won't be as long as the introduction. But I want to tell you now that this award is, absolutely amazing to me, and it looks very familiar to an award I won in Fredericton, and it was Frank McKenna's award. And when he did see this, it's very similar. He said, "Is this all I'm worth?" And we all chuckled, and the other awardees were, I believe, 3 Rhodes Scholars. And of course, you have 3 Rhodes Scholars and the chief that walks the road a lot. So when I told Frank, there's a lot of use for this. One thing I can do is turn it into a moose call. So, we did a bit of that, and he learned. He learned really quickly. So I wanted to tell you this. This is very, very important to me, because it represents not only our people, but, all the people in the Atlantic and in Canada. So I just wanted to say to you that this is very heartfelt for me. Thank you. So I want to say a few words to you in my language. I have a few friends here that ask me to speak Mi'kmaq, my language. So I'll say a few words that Wilalio la begisalio, a Wilalio how is it in wheel. A Kejula munestuo. Basula no days, Quijino laded nestuit, the Hoy down Delaway. Got Nazig, a Magnige, Tabusier, and Meg, the Hoy Delaway. A Waldasi, Gizil Noisi, Meda Sespide de Meg, not a Hoy down Liado Nadil, Meda Bemian Duet, Meda Bemian Duet, Meda Gizia Juldimni, Gizia Oleuxia, Got Nasik Pilawasik, Sitkoi. So, to translate loosely there, I wanted to tell you that I wanted to speak to you in my language because it's very important. Very, very important. Not only to me, but it should be important to all Canadians because it makes up part of the melting pot that we have. There are a tremendous amount of Indigenous languages in this country, and they're all important to us. And it's so important that there is people that believe in that. And as some of you may know, that in the province of Nova Scotia, Mi'kmaq was decided by an all-party committee that, and the House itself decided that Mi'kmaq would be the first language in Nova Scotia from here on. So I wrote a few words in English, and I just wanted to let you know how I feel about where we've gotten to today and why I'm here this evening talking to you. Wilalio, and thank you. I am truly honored to be here this evening to accept this wonderful award. In moments like these, I have the opportunity to reflect on the incredible journey that it has been my career in politics and business. In my early years as chief, I decided that in order to affect change and create something that I didn't see in Indigenous communities across Canada, it was going to take a lot of grit and perseverance. As I look back, I understand clearly that so much of our success was because of people and relationships we built. The quality of your work and the quality of your organization is based on the people who join you in your vision. Treating people fairly and with respect, regardless if they are different from you, can change the way we do business. And I dare say, change the world. I also never anticipated how much of my time would be spent on policy work. It's not something that they tell you when you put your name forward for chief. In the last nearly 4 decades, I've had the great fortune of being part of significant policy changes and amendments that have changed the game for our communities. Not to mention the policy work that's been within our organization to reach milestones like being ISO 9001 certified, the Financial Management Board, the FMB certified, and Canada's best managed company. In Mi'kmaq culture, we honor the next 7 generations, always keeping those who come after us in mind. This belief tells us that we are a small piece of a collective. And as one piece of the collective, I'd like to thank my team in Member 2. They work hard and think big with me. Thank you to my wife, Tracy. She has been the core piece of my collective for many years, and I'm grateful for her and my family who endlessly support me. Thank you to the Public Policy Forum for this incredible honor, and to all those who made this evening possible. And lastly, very seriously, I invite you all to visit us in Member 2. It's a beautiful time of year in Unama'ki, Cape Breton. Thank you so much, Walalio.